Is The Devil's Mouth the shark horror movie of the summer? Well, let's talk a little bit about it.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
I want to be a fighter, like you.
Oh, let it burn! Let it burn!
Did you miss me?
You have to shoot them in the head. They always come back.
The boat can leave now. Tell the crew.
Well, sometimes that is better.
Good luck.
Hey everybody, I'm KillJoy Jake, and I love some good shark movies, especially ones that star Kathryn Newton. When I heard she was in this one, I had to check it out. The Devil's Mouth follows a group of young adults in Thailand as they go on a guided tour of a freshwater cave system. When a bull shark comes after them, recently getting trapped in there after a massive storm, they must fight to survive and find another way out. The movie just landed on Prime Video, and you can watch it at home right now. Check it out before we dive into spoilers in today's video. This marks the 9th directorial effort for Mr. Jeff Wadlow, a guy who's made a couple of films that I think are pretty good. If we're talking about Cry Wolf from 2005, his feature directorial debut, or the kick-ass sequel, Kick-Ass 2. That movie is pretty kick-ass. Sadly though, he's also responsible for some of the most damning movies to ever come out of Blumhouse. He helmed movies like Truth or Dare, Fantasy Island, and worst of all, Imaginary, which was a joyless little Insidious clone. These flicks contributed to the decline of Blumhouse starting in the late 2010s that I think the company is only now recovering from. The most consistent problem with all three of those movies is how cookie cutter they end up being, and sadly, The Devil's Mouth kind of falls into that a little bit too. I have to hand it to Jeff, however, because despite those other three movies we just talked about just not really being my cup of tea, I think Wadlow was successfully able to build some tension in this flick. The Devil's Mouth mostly utilizes its setting to its advantage, with characters getting caught between rocks and some claustrophobic sequences, and there's a pretty excellent chase scene about halfway through, underwater with the shark getting closer and closer as it goes along. There's also a really nasty scene involving a character getting their hand smashed by a rock that I really appreciated. It made me wince back in terror, so good on ya, Devil's Mouth. This is, however, another shark movie where just a regular ass bull shark is treated like a weapon of mass destruction versus the animal that it kinda just is. See, I can accept that in something like Jaws that does such a great job at explaining that there's something up with this shark that never really gets fully explained. Or take something like Deep Blue Sea, for instance, where they're like experimenting on these sharks and that's why they're fucking crazy, like they're mutations, you know? It's why I really appreciated the film Dangerous Animals from a few years ago, that found a way to tell a terrifying shark-based story without drastically changing the way bull sharks in particular operate. The horrors of that film were man-made manipulation of the creatures, where in this flick it's just not as thought out. We basically have a Jaws the Revenge style killer shark on our hands here that does everything except roar. One scene in particular sees the shark leaping 10 feet out of the water in order to catch some bats that are flying around in the cave. Look, if you've been watching this channel for a long time, you know that I'm not necessarily a guy who's gonna be super critical on a movie if it's like a little illogical. I am a firm believer in the rule of cool. If you do something really fucking sick nasty with your movie, I can look past it being a little illogical. No interesting story is perfectly grounded anyways. This scene, however, is illogical and just plain silly. I just don't feel like it fits in a grounded thriller like this. Talking about the cast a bit though, you gotta love Kathryn Newton in the lead role here, who has become a major scream queen in the last couple of years. Her credits include Paranormal Activity 4, Freaky, Lisa Frankenstein, and Ready or Not 2, so of course, star power alone wins me over to this character before the flick even begins. With that being said though, this shark movie does something really interesting in the first 10 minutes to win me over to the main character, outside of her just being Kathryn Newton. Sarah, Newton's character, gets left behind swimming around as the yacht carrying the rest of her friends takes off without her. As she tries to call them back over, she's attacked by jellyfish that leave some really nasty scars all over her in this great moment of body horror. It's one of the most uniquely disturbing moments of the film, and I kind of thought it was teasing this like ocean horror flick, like it's more than just a shark movie. I was actually kind of disappointed that this was like the last big super scary moment that didn't involve a shark. Like, yeah, we get an eel jump scare and a gigantic tortoise with a massive shark bite taken out of it, but that's really only within the first 25 minutes of the film. It still mostly scratches that thalassophobia itch that I just wish it went a little harder on. The ocean is my greatest fear after all. A general note for the film is that I feel like it's about 15 minutes too long and there's definitely some filler you could have cut. There's a scene way later into the movie where we're down to 2 survivors finding a way out to the ocean, but it's too high off the ground. I think we spend way too much time on this scene, and we even get like a dream sequence fake out that feels entirely unnecessary. Compare that to a very similar movie that came out this year, Primate. That creature feature also wasn't anything special regarding its story, but it was paced perfectly. Primate got in and got out with some mindless B-movie action and kept it to a solid 90 minutes, because there was no point in adding any more story to that thing.
Ben, happy.
I think the same thing could be said here, and sadly this movie tries to layer on this like emotional subplot that I just don't think really works for me, especially because of how superficial and unlikable the rest of the cast is. Max literally calls herself the CEO of fun, which is probably the least fun thing a character could do, and is pushing the group to change plans and take riskier paths. She's also the one responsible for the yacht leaving Sarah in the ocean to get stung up by a bunch of fucking jellyfish. I'm sorry, but that just doesn't sound like a CEO of fun kind of move, dog. I think they were trying to give this character a redemption arc so you would end up feeling bad for her when she inevitably gets eaten despite her mistakes. This echoes another cave horror movie that's a clear influence here, where Juno in The Descent accidentally kills Beth with a pickaxe. Juno is then left to fend off the crawlers at the end of the flick, as that movie's Sarah gets away. Both of these movies have a Sarah as their lead character. What a coinky-dink. Sadly, The Devil's Mouth just never hits those same character strides with its lackluster cast. Greg was pretty fucking funny though. One final silly note about the film that I noticed is The Devil's Mouth itself. As our characters enter the cave systems, they see a ton of different archways with spiky rock formations that kind of look like teeth.
Wow.
The characters are even asking Kathryn Newton, like, is that the Devil's Mouth? And she's constantly like, no, you're gonna see it when we get inside. Trust me, it's totally worth the wait. After a few fake outs like that, we finally get to the actual Devil's Mouth, and it's this like super disappointingly small archway with like a couple of little sharp rocks on it.
This is Devil's Mouth.
Like, what do you mean that's the Devil's Mouth? Dog, the one we saw 2 minutes ago was way more devilish and mouthy than that. I guess Satan really wasn't the throat goat after all. Jokes aside, I did still end up really enjoying The Devil's Mouth. I would give it a 5 out of 10 for being a perfectly fine little shark horror. It echoes the same enjoyable vibes as movies like The Shallows or Shark Night 3D that aren't trying to reinvent the wheel. It's not perfect by any means, but it is an easy watch, especially if you love seeing Kathryn Newton kick ass as much as I do. Here's where I'd rank it against the other horror flicks I've seen this year. Before we wrap up today's video, please make sure to like it and subscribe to this page for more updates on the most exciting horror projects. You can also listen to horror updates on Spotify while you're on the go. Also, the best way to support this channel is by becoming a patron over on Patreon. Over there, you can find a ton of bonus content like reactions to various horror TV shows and movies. We're currently watching Dexter and Hannibal with multiple episodes going up there a week. No, what? Check it out by clicking on the link in the description below. One final plug and I'll shut the heck up. Please make sure to also check out my film channel, Human Egg Productions, where we're currently posting horror and comedy short films every Friday. If you like slashers especially, check out the gory short I wrote and directed called Chicken Man. Thank you to everyone who supports all of my pages. What did you guys think about The Devil's Mouth over on Prime Video? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe, and as always, don't forget to kill it out there, y'all.